Hey, I'm Becca. I'm a reseller. I'm down here in my basement where I keep a lot of my inventory. I just got a very small thrift haul and estate haul, and it does a good job of illustrating some of the things I look for when I go out. I can't know everything. Nobody can know everything. So there's a few rules I follow about what items to look up and take a closer look at. So let me flip you around and I'll show you the items. Alright, my first stop was an estate sale. One of my rules that I follow is if there's an estate sale within 10 minutes of my home, I always go look. Even if I don't know that there will be a ton of stuff based on the photos that they provide, you just never know. So if it's a short trip, I always go look. So this estate sale wasn't the greatest, as you can tell. I got 2 items. The first is this button down, and I have never come across this brand before. I looked it up because the tag is fabric, like a cotton fabric. It's sewn in all the way around, and because the name for the company is just a little bit weird, a little funky, not something you would not put angry minnow together usually in a sentence, so I decided to look it up. It has a lot of details like intentional bleaching and distressing intentional ink marks. At first I wondered if that wasn't intentional, but it's throughout. There's more on the other side and on the back and here. The back also has some more details, so I decided to look it up. These sell usually for between $30 and $40, which I got it for $2.50 at this estate sale. That's a great flip. The next thing that I got was this bag full of brooches. They had a basket down on the floor filled with baggies of costume jewelry. That would be one of my other tips, is look below eye level. Estate sale companies, places like thrift stores, tend to shove items that they deem low ticket or not valuable kind of down on the bottom, and they don't know everything either, so sometimes they miss stuff and you can find really great deals. I always look at baggies because volume is your friend in the reselling world. The more items you can get for a cheap price, the more profit you can make. Brooches are easy to store, easy to ship, easy to photograph, easy to list, and generally they're marked, which helps you figure out what they are. The reason why I picked this baggie in particular was because I had sold this brooch before already and knew that I could make $20 on it. The bag was $5, so already I'm profiting on just one item. I did not take the time to open it up while I was there, but just kind of looking through it, I was able to see some signatures on them. This one is a Sarah Coventry, and there was a Trifari. Let me open it up and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here's the bag dumped out. Can kind of see them a little bit better. I have sold these types of brooches before as well. It is carved shell. This is marked Sarah Coventry. I do really well with daisies. Use the keyword hippie, flower power, and I actually do well with clip-on earrings too. Kind of an interesting thing. This is a hedgehog Sarah Coventry. Animal brooches generally sell well for me. People like to get one of their favorite animal and wear it. There's another animal. Usually when I see animal brooches, I check them out. This one is a Disney one. I have not looked up information on very many of these. I have actually already listed this one and know that it sells for around $20 to $25. So even if I end up lotting together the rest of them to just sell as a bulk on eBay or Etsy, I have really profited well from my $5 investment with just the 2 brooches that I know make money. I also love getting stick pins or hat pins. Those are a little bit different and they do sell pretty quickly for me, especially if they're interesting. Let's see if there's anything else in here. This, I believe, is for a pocket watch, but I don't think the clasp is working in working order. But it does have markings on the back, so it is worth looking up, trying to figure out, is it worth replacing the clasp or listing as is? Will somebody still want it? So I guess the rules to remember for items like this is if there's a lot of something altogether, it's most likely a good deal. Odds are you'll find something in there that will make you a profit. After the estate sale, I headed to a thrift store that was only a 2-minute drive from the estate sale. It is relatively close to me, this thrift store, but it's not one that I usually go out of my way to visit. Their pricing seems to be really arbitrary, and they often staple tags to the clothing, which is really annoying. But because I was so close, I decided I would take 20 minutes and walk through and see what I could find. When I am short on time like that, or when I know that I don't generally find a lot at a specific thrift store, I will focus on just the areas where I'm most likely to find a good deal. In this thrift store, they always have 3 or 4 racks outside that are clothing that have been marked down to $1. So that is where I started, was in their dollar rack. I picked up this t-shirt because I have sold a similar one before. Not for a lot, it sold for $16 or $18. I know it was below $20, but it sold very, very quickly, like in 2 days. And if I can turn $1 into $15 in 2 days, I'm totally happy with that. Plus, I already know the keywords. So I got that one. And then this one illustrates one of my rules. If I see branding, labeling like this on the clothing, I always check. I know this is a Henley shirt, which they usually do pretty well. That also helped me want to look it up. I wasn't necessarily familiar with this. I am new to clothing, reselling clothing. I've been trying to teach myself over the last few months, so I'm not super knowledgeable, but I got this for $1, and it's looking like they sell for between $25 and $30. The next item, I wandered over to the purses because I generally have at least some sort of luck in their purse area in this thrift store, and this one stood out because of the big flashy hardware. With purses, that is something that I always look for. It also has labeling. When a place is proud of their item, they will label it so that everybody knows. So I picked it up to take a closer look. It felt like leather, and it has all this tooling on it, all these decorations. It's on, let's see, on the handle as well. So I went looking inside. I don't know if I can find the label to show you guys, but it is marked made in USA, handmade, and so it's like, okay, if it's handmade and made in the USA, it's time to look it up. It is a little bit high priced. I don't love paying $15 for a purse at a thrift store, but when I started looking it up, I was seeing prices like $200, $400, $300 for this brand. So I did a little bit more research, found one that was almost exactly like this that had sold for $200. This one does have a few condition issues, some wear to the leather, So I don't think I will get that much, but even if I sell it for half at $100, turning $14 into $100 is a great flip. Alright, the next purse that stood out to me was this one, again because of the labeling. Anytime you notice a name on the zipper pull or anywhere else, it might be worth looking into. I actually have sold Betsy Johnson purses before, and I knew that these lip ones especially were one of the more popular ones, so I decided to look it up. This one, luckily, was a much lower price point, and it sells for about $20 to $25. And then the final thing I picked up at this thrift store was just a tourist mug. This one has a vintage tag on it. It is in good condition. The colors are still pretty vibrant. The one upside of this thrift store is that their mugs are all 60 cents, which is a great deal if you find a good one. I usually get between $15 and $18 for my tourist mugs on my Etsy shop. This one is going to need a little bit of cleaning. There's some sticker residue and stuff, but some barkeeper's friend will clean that right up. So for this, one of my rules is to look for these vintage stickers. It also means that it probably wasn't used much, so in great condition. So I hope some of those tips will help you, especially if you're short on time. I know that everybody's busy and sourcing can sometimes take a really long time, but maybe a few of those rules will help you work through your thrift store or estate sales a little bit faster.